So I did my whole Tyrese Halliburton video here a couple days ago, but what is going on in Indiana? Like, it's not just Tyrese Halliburton. This team's just not very good. I mean, they're 9-14 after losing to the Nets. Just gross. Like, what is wrong with this team? They are 2-11 on the road. The Nets are not a team you should be losing to as a squad that just went to the Eastern Conference Finals and fancies themselves Eastern Conference contenders. And yet we're over a quarter of the way into the season and they look rough. And the issue is there's not even like significant injury issues. There are injury issues. I mean, Isaiah Jackson's out for the year with a torn Achilles, as is James Wiseman, which is a shame. And it does kill their big man depth, by the way. But also, I mean, besides that, Andrew Nembhard's missed a good chunk of time, but like Halliburton's healthy, Siakam's healthy, Ben Matherin's healthy, Miles Turner's healthy. I guess Aaron Nesmith's out. Like, there are some injury issues to role players and stuff, but not the type where you would think they would have this rough of a start. I mean, it's not like the Nets even had their full complement of players tonight. I mean, they started Keon Johnson. They didn't have Dorian Finney-Smith. They didn't have Cam Thomas. He's out for like the next month. Like, it's not like the Nets were fully healthy, and it's not like this Nets team is a elite level roster. Dennis Schroeder was 2 of 11 tonight. Like, it's not like the Nets played great. The Pacers were just worse. I'm very confused by what's going on in Indiana this year. And I honestly can't figure out why they look this bad. Before we hop into it, if y'all haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 1,000 subscriber mark on the channel. Less than 50 subscribers away. Trying to get this channel monetized. Really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it and let's talk. First and foremost, I mean, you do have to start with Tyrese Halliburton. I'll make this short and sweet, quite simply because I dropped another whole video pretty much exclusively talking about Tyrese Halliburton just a couple days ago. So if y'all want to hear my more in-depth thoughts on him, go watch that. But I mean, he's just not efficient. He's still a very good playmaker. Yes, he had 8 assists, 3 turnovers tonight, has had a decent year as a playmaker, but the shooting efficiency hasn't been there. It wasn't tonight, 1 of 7 from 3. He doesn't get downhill a ton. He's not beating defenders off the dribble, and he's not a good defender. Like, he's just not doing a lot of good for the Pacers so far this year. Their best player has been Pascal Siakam, who as a whole has had a really good year. I mean, when you look at the numbers, he's out here averaging, let me pull up his statistics. Siakam's averaging 20 a game on over 41% from 3. Now, I think that 3-point efficiency might actually go down as the season progresses. I mean, that's higher than his career by far. So I don't expect it to be sustained at quite that level, but he's having himself a good year. I mean, in all honesty, overall 6.5 rebounds, almost 4 assists a game, only a turnover and a half a game. Like, he's having a very solid year, and he's not a bad defender either. Like, I think Siakam's a pretty good player. He's not a great defender, but he's certainly not a terrible one either. I think Miles Turner, in all honesty, is an overrated defender. I think his shot blocking numbers are generally pretty good, and people give him a lot of credit as a rim protector, but he's not a great defender all the way around. I mean, he's shooting the 3 ball very well again this year, 40% from 3, always been a pretty solid 3-point shooting big. My biggest concern, though, is when you look at the 3-point numbers, Siakam's shooting really well. Ben Matherin's shooting phenomenally well, also significantly over his career averages, and he's been a huge piece to this team as well. Without him, I don't know where the Pacers would be. I mean, they have 9 wins. They might have 5 without Ben Mathurin. At over 41.5% from 3 in his own right, having a really great year. And Miles Turner's having a really good offensive year too. So you have 3 of your 4 best players having really good offensive years, and they still are 9-14. And the problem with this team doesn't really lie on the offensive end of the court. We know they're a good offense. We know they're a high-scoring offense. They were a historically good offense last season. So yes, they're having really good offensive years, and maybe it's somewhat sustainable. I mean, Aaron Nesmith has been out. Andrew Nembhard missed time, but although Andrew Nembhard has been one of the few Pacers not having a good offensive year, he's had a really rough year so far. Obi Toppin has just never really developed into a great 3-point shooter, and he's not having a great shooting season in his own right. I actually really like Jarris Walker. I'm surprised they're not playing him more because he provides one thing that the Pacers really need, which is defense. Definitely a good point of attack defender, high energy, high effort, high level defensive player. So I think he should realistically probably be playing more on this team because they just don't have a lot of good perimeter point of attack defenders besides him and obviously Aaron Nesmith, who they need back desperately. But I'm not sure the return of Aaron Nesmith is going to be something that is going to just help this team significantly. And the other issue is he's still weeks away, as of a few days ago when Coach Carlisle reported that he is still weeks away from returning to game action. Not good. They still have no backup big man, which is not helpful at all. I mean, they're basically using a rookie in Enrique Freeman as their backup center, and he's not playing much, or Obi Toppin as a small ball 5. Like, they just don't have the depth right now because of injuries to be a great team. Offensively, they're struggling as of late more than you would expect. And defensively, they're one of the worst teams in basketball. And that's not the shocking part to me. The defense is not stunning, especially without Nesmith, When you look at the numbers, they are giving up tied for the best defensive field goal percentage in the entire league. So field goal percentage on shots against them. When you look at their defensive rating, they have the 6th worst defensive rating in the league at 116.7. They are just not a good defensive team. And the bigger issue, even more than that, is when you look at the schedule, it doesn't get any easier. Because yes, they're the 15th middle of the pack, hardest schedule left. But if you notice, there are only 2 Eastern Conference teams above them, Detroit and Toronto. Every other Eastern Conference team in the league, the other 12, are below the Pacers. That's not a good sign at all for a team that is struggling as much as they are right now. They're 9-14. They're just can't win a game to save their lives on the road. Their offense isn't clicking at as high of a level this year because of Halliburton's struggles. They've lost 4 in a row. Their defense is really pretty god awful, to be totally honest. I mean, a couple of these losses were uncompetitive. Getting blown out by the Pistons is kind of embarrassing. The Grizzlies are good, but that's another blowout. Raptors wasn't a super close competitive game. Like, they're kind of getting smacked around in a lot of these games, and the schedule doesn't get any easier. And that would be my biggest concern as a Pacers fan, is the team seems like they're on a downturn right now with the way they're playing as of late, and it doesn't get easier. Like, they have a couple of, in theory, gimme games here in the next few games. Chicago, Charlotte, Philadelphia, New Orleans. But they need to win those games, because after that, it gets tough. Phoenix, Sacramento, Golden State, OKC, Boston twice, Milwaukee, Miami, Phoenix again, before you get a couple of easier, in theory, games in Brooklyn and Chicago. But then you go right back into Golden State, Cleveland twice, Detroit, who whooped them, San Antonio twice, Detroit again. Like, it's just not going to be easy down the stretch of this season in basically the rest of the year. They have one of the hardest schedules of any Eastern Conference team. So you combine a very hard schedule with a team that is missing important pieces on the defensive end of the court, a team that is not playing the same level offensively. They're in a rough spot. The only saving grace for the Pacers right now is the fact that they're in the Eastern Conference. Like, plain and simple, if they weren't in the East, this team would just be screwed. I like, plain and simple. They're the 10 seed right now, and they might be lucky enough to hold on to the 10 seed because the Pistons still don't seem like they're quite ready to be a good team. The Bulls may fall off as the season progresses. The Nets may as well. I mean, the reason they might make the play-in in the East is basically because the East sucks, not because the Pacers are good. And the biggest issue is, even if they make the play-in, congratulations, you might make the playoffs in the East. You get to get whooped by the Celtics, the Cavs, the Knicks, the Bucks, or the Magic in the first round. One of those 4 teams is going to be the first round matchup for the Pacers, and they're going to get their butts smacked. Basically, that's what's going to happen, I think. I do not see a path to this Pacers team even coming close to repeating what they did last year, in all honesty. I think last year was kind of a fluke run, a la the 2021 Atlanta Hawks. I don't think this team is very good, to be totally honest. Like, they have some good pieces, and if they're fully healthy, they're not bad. But I just don't. With Halliburton, has to be better, is the number one thing. But there are so many other issues right now, especially on the defensive end of the court. They have serious depth issues at the big. Their defense is atrocious. Like, I am not seeing the path to success for the Indiana Pacers this season. And again, we're still relatively early in the season. Things could change. But as of right now, it doesn't look promising. Let's put it that way. Hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more NBA content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.